Hey, 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 this is your girl, your sister, your friend, your auntie, Erica Brown. I'm here tonight with Soulful Revelations. We got a good one and we got a special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
How y'all doing? Good evening. Good evening. I am Chance Robertson. I'm her nephew by some way, though.
That's my nephew. All right, Chance, you got to tell them, what you do. I don't know if
Um,
I know what you, I mean, if
I
they
don't
know
know. This is the
Facebook.
second time. If they're a true watcher, they know. But I am a real estate broker and developer here in the Alachua County, Gainesville area. Um,
What
Born and
was the
raised in Gainesville. Next to Realty.
Okay, next
Next
tier.
to Real.
All right. Born and raised in Gainesville.
Born and raised in Gainesville.
What high school you went to?
Nothing but the best. Eastside High School. Come on now.
I
Come on, Auntie.
just regurgitated.
It's okay. As long as you called it.
I'll let him have it today. I'll let him have it today. But today, y'all, we have a good one. We're talking about boundaries. We're talking about how to set healthy boundaries. And if you all saw the thumbnail to the podcast, um, it says teach people how to treat you. That's one of my best friends hashtag. She like say that 24/7. You teach people how to treat you.
Mm, that's a good
Go
one.
ahead. Go ahead, Chance. Tell me what your thoughts when I say that you teach people how to treat you. What are you thinking?
Um, I think it's very much true. You have to teach someone how to treat you,
Mhm.
how to respect you, and how to deal with you because everybody's different.
Okay.
Everybody's different. I don't think nobody should ever go to somebody or approach them thinking that they should know how to
Mhm.
treat you.
Mhm. I
But
think
setting boundaries is the best way to make that happen.
absolutely, absolutely. I think when she uses the term "you teach people how to treat you" is however you allow people to treat you,
Mhm.
good or bad. That's on you.
I agree.
That's on you. So it's up to you whether you're willing to accept that from people on how they treat you. Um, let's get into the boundaries. All right. So if we are setting boundaries, let's just say, well, you're a businessman, so you own your own business. So you have to set boundaries, literally. Like you have to go in, especially when you're dealing with a community that you're familiar with.
Mhm.
Because everybody think Chance cool, dude, he cool. You can work with
Oh yeah.
Chance. Like, man, he cool. He don't care about how you do this. He don't care. Me and Chance just cool. How do you set that boundary and say, no, bro, it's about my money?
You got to start. You got to set them from the beginning. You got to set them from the beginning.
And
You
how do
can't.
you
You have to start it by really for me in work. It was all about setting systems from the beginning,
okay.
systems and procedures from the beginning, and making that boundary of this is work. I'm not that friend. I'm Chance that's at work. I'm Chance the realtor here, not Chance the homeboy. That had to be set very quickly.
Yes,
Very
yes,
quick. For so many people do see that. They see you as the same person from
yes.
Gainesville, from out east, and they can think that it's just, but no, no. This is
No,
business here.
this
This is
business.
all business.
It's business. I think I remember talking with a friend of mine, and they were doing something. Someone who I was dating at the time, actually, and they were doing something for me. And they said, "Hey, Erica, I know you had asked me to do such and such, but I can't really get the program right." Da 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 da. And I said, "Okay, okay." So I mean, I'm like, I don't know IT.
Uh,
I mean, I don't know. So he was like, well, I don't know what you want me to do. And I said, okay, you want the girlfriend answer? Or you want the business girl answer? And he says, well, I kind of want the business girl answer. And I said, okay, figure it out. You call me back when you got to figure it out.
mm.
He was like, all right.
I hope he figured it out because
He sure did. He
that
sure
was
did.
rough.
But
That was
but
okay.
it was, I mean, it was one of those things like I could sit here, I could sit here and try to make it be like I'm gonna say, oh, it's okay, so it's all right. It's good. No, we doing business now.
Yeah.
Relationship
But
stuff is on the side.
But in the long term, you learn to respect that. It might hurt at
You do.
first, but you learn to respect that.
You do, you do.
You learn to
It's
respect
it's
that.
a it's a hard pill, but I think sometimes we as women, there's nothing wrong with being feminine. But when we're in business, sometimes we got to turn that off a little bit. I ain't saying
Mhm.
turn on all this masculine stuff either, but I'm saying turn it off a little bit because we want people to respect us. And if you want people to respect us, all that prissy stuff is not going to get you the respect.
Agree.
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm glad you said that. When you said it was tough,
It's tough. It's tough love.
so, how do you get people to respect you when you're fearing conflict?
That's rough because I'm an introvert. I'm a true introvert. So that's one of my biggest problems right now because I don't like conflict at all.
Okay.
But you just have to say what you mean and mean what you say and stick to it. I
Well,
mean, that's the
okay.
biggest thing.
So you say you don't like conflict. So
Oh,
give me an instance in a personal relationship, not too deep, but a personal relationship that you refuse to deal with conflict in fear of, I don't know, maybe hurting someone's feelings or fear of maybe even losing them.
mm. No, I gotta think of a good one for you. I gotta
Okay.
give you a good one. I gotta think of that one too.
I'm
You
sure
should
there's plenty. I should,
no.
I should ask you this off camera.
Yeah, we should have started this one beforehand. I could have wrote this one down and got it started. Um,
Sorry. Okay.
I gotta think of a good one on that one.
Okay.
Let's come
Well,
back to that one. I'll come back to that one. Let's.
okay. I can say,
Ooh.
I can give you an example because I'm going to talk about this as well. I
Mhm.
mean, setting boundaries with children, right?
Okay.
So I know sometimes parents, y'all love y'all little babies, you go to the ends of the earth for your little kids, but sometimes you don't know how to set those boundaries. And I can remember I was in a conversation not too long ago, actually. I think this was last year sometime. And I'm talking to one of my nephews. And everybody know I got a gazillion nieces and nephews. So it's 18 of them, right? So I'm talking to one of my nephews. And he was like, "Yeah, Auntie, woot the woo, And as soon as I say this, he gonna know who I'm talking about. Auntie, woot the woo, And I was like, "What?" He was like, bruh, man. I said, I ain't your bruh. I'm not your bruh. He was like, but Auntie, I ain't mean it like that. I was just like kind of saying, like, I am not your bruh, though.
Mhm.
I am your auntie. So when you address me as auntie. And granted, he really didn't mean nothing about it because that's just how he talked. But
Mhm.
we have to teach them how to respect us, even when y'all talking y'all slang. I'm your aunt. I'm not your bruh. So I had to pump his brakes, and he didn't get mad. He didn't get upset. He just said, "Auntie, I didn't mean to say it like that, but I'm sorry." But yeah, all that woot woot stuff. I don't listen. Talk regular. I just need to
I've
hear
had
what
that
you.
instance. I've had an instance with my oldest daughter.
Okay.
My oldest daughter, that conversation when she just get a little too deep and wait, whoa, hold on. We ain't that cool. I'm still your
No.
father. I'm still your
People,
father. Yo,
yes.
yo,
Yeah, but
yeah.
it's one of those things that it's you have to be able to not be fearful of how they're going to view you to be able
Hmm.
to set the boundary. Like not be scared, like she ain't gonna come to me no more if I say that.
No,
No,
no.
no, not at all. No, they're gonna come to you again. But it's
Oh
just a
yeah.
matter of setting that boundary. Say, hey, no, you can't do that in this setting. I'm not your homeboy or your homegirl. Period.
At
Yes.
all.
You want to add something to that?
No, but that's yeah, like, but that's very true. Like I said, I've had that instance with my oldest daughter to where, and my youngest daughter a couple of times. She's 13, so she's starting to have that middle school trend to where she feel
Oh
like we can talk, but she want to be bruh. No, I'm still your father. No, I'm not your friend.
yeah, no,
I sound like my parents. I'm not one of your little friends.
that's right.
I'm not one of your little friends.
Not at
But
all.
yeah, not
Not
at
at
all.
all.
But
Yes.
I want her to still, especially my youngest, to still be very open with me, but still have boundaries on how you bring this conversation to me. If you're going to
Okay.
talk to me openly, I can understand and I'm accepting of that. but
That's
don't talk to me like I'm one of your peers.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So in setting those boundaries, a lot of people want to just, that's what social media does. It shows people that they have the perfect relationship. So your
Mhm.
kids are perfect, your job is perfect, your best friend is your best friend. Your everything is perfect. That's what people, that's what social media does. It creates the image that everything is perfect. You snap that picture, bam, it's perfect. But the reality is it's not perfect, and it's not going to be even more perfecter, if that's a word, when you start to set boundaries with people. So I can say for myself, it was hard for me to set boundaries because I grew up in a very trusting environment, right? I could trust what my parents said. If my mama said we're going to the beach on Saturday morning, she up packing us lunch and we going to the beach. If my mama said, hey, I'm taking to the mall on Friday when I get off work, be ready, I was walking out the door when she said get there. So when you trust your environment as a kid, sometimes you don't set boundaries with people because you instantly trust them. So when you start to meet new people, if someone is happy and jovial and joyful around you, you just instantly start trusting them and you pull them in, you pull them in, you pull them in, because they're creating an image that you think is safe for you. So it's hard for you to set boundaries even when people are faking this image to you. So it took me well in my 30s to learn how to create boundaries with people. And I had to get hurt a lot before I learned how to create those boundaries. Go ahead, you got something to say?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how did you start creating the boundaries?
I was hurt. Number one. Number one, I got hurt. And a lot of times people don't realize that hurt helps you grow in so many ways. It helps you grow in so many ways. And one of the first things I started to do is evaluate my friendships.
Mm.
So I started to evaluate my friendships. And when I evaluated my friendships, I started to pray and ask God, why are they here? What lesson am I supposed to learn from them? What lesson are they supposed to learn from me? Are they supposed to be here for the long haul? Or are they supposed to just be here for a season and accept what he gave me?
Now that's hard
That's the
to
hard part.
accept what he gives you.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times we still want, in our minds, we still want to hold on to those friendships and those connections when
Yeah.
he's already exposed them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the hard part is seeing friendships that you have had since you were kids and understanding that the only value that was brought to the relationship came from you. So it's one of those things that you start to shift things around. Like really slowly. It wasn't abrupt, but it was slowly me pulling myself out of situations. Like, nah, I'm good. I'm not going. Oh no, y'all go ahead. I'm good. It was more so that for me because I didn't have the strength to snatch myself up out of it like that. Because
Uh-huh.
when you develop these friendships and relationships, you love people. So there's love attached to these people. You've built a covenant with these people and you don't want to detach from it. Right. So I
I
had
get you.
to get hurt first. That was the first thing. And then I had to start looking at, okay, am I rejecting them or are they rejecting me? Because a lot of times it'll feel like rejection because people start seeing and feeling the change in you. Like she, 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 why we used to be, she ain't this, she ain't that. Well, I've grown, and other people hadn't. So
Yeah.
it was time for me to transition because I was growing. So when you see that in yourself, it's like, okay, I gotta do something about this. I can't just sit on this. I don't care how
Mhm.
long we've been friends. I don't care how long we were friends. If she doesn't bring the value, or he doesn't bring the value in life that you're looking for, maybe you need to put them on a different spot on your bus. I just told one of my friends this the other day. I said, somebody just showed you who they was. I need you to take them and put them on a different spot on your bus. or put them off the bus. Quit fighting with who they are. They just showed you who they was. Now it's your turn to figure out where they sit at on your bus.
I like this. I needed this.
Uh-oh.
Mhm, mhm. I
But
needed this a little bit.
it's I mean it's the reality. So I don't get mad anymore. Like if somebody say, "Hey, Erica, I ain't gonna be able to," my answer is okay. Because my trust is in God. My trust is not in people. My
100%.
trust is in God. Period. It's okay. Because if you can't be who I need you to be, God gonna present it another way. So I just look at it like, well, don't get me wrong. There's times that people just literally can't do things. Like I can't, I'm not able to be in one place at the next. I'm fine with that. But for people who are never there for you and you're always there for them, that's a problem. So that's when you start to see, I need to start to create some boundaries. I need to figure out where these people are sitting on my bus because I keep putting them up front and they need to be back there, way
In
in
the
the back.
back.
Yeah, they need to be in the back. All right. So I always say a boundary is just a suggestion when you constantly let people cross them.
Yeah.
So how do you get to a point that you don't let people cross your boundaries?
See, for me, my cutoff game real strong.
Okay.
It's strong. Like I
Okay.
don't, yeah, ooh, yeah, it's strong.
Okay. So
That's a bad thing for me. I will stop it for a second.
no, no,
You don't
not
think so?
always. Not always. Mm-mm.
I don't know. I kind of feel like it is.
No, I think sometimes I heard a guy say this, and actually, this is in your field. I heard a guy I was watching a TV show last night, and I heard a guy say this. He said he was telling his fiance, "You know why I'm in luxury real estate?" And she was like, "No, why?" He says, because people wanted to start me at the bottom of the totem pole. Now I'm paraphrasing, right?
Hmm.
People wanted to start me at the bottom of the totem pole, but I knew I was bigger than that.
Mm.
So if I would have allowed them to keep me at the bottom, I would not be selling luxury real estate right now. So I
That's
say to you, you started in the game with your own. You may have worked,
it.
but your goal was I need my own.
I need them all from the
So
beginning.
that's from the beginning because that's who you are. I mean,
Mhm.
you've been an entrepreneur ever since I can remember. So it's one of those things that people will try to put you in that box, but you stand your ground on your boundaries professionally because you know who you are.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Period. So people can talk. Oh, Chance, he think he all that because he got him a little real estate company. I am one.
I
I'm
am.
just,
I say that all the
just,
time. I am that.
just what
I
you
am
said.
definitely that.
I am.
Yeah.
I
I
am.
am all of that.
I'm just what you say. You know why? Because you work really hard to get to that point. But if we don't create boundaries with people, if we let people's negativity derail us, we will never get to the next spot in life. We will never have that next jump. Oh, we will never have it if
Yeah.
we allow people to derail us with their negativity. So that is a boundary that we have to create professionally. So when we they throw their little negative innuendos at us, we put our reverse psychology back on them. Yep,
Yep.
sure is. Sure enough is just like that.
100%.
Yes, just like that. So how can we be consistent in reinforcing our boundaries with people?
Standing on business. I'm gonna say that's my phrase for that. When you set them, you just gotta be consistent and hold on to it. Don't waver on it. When you set the boundary, just stick to it no matter what, no matter how much it hurt. Because I've gone back on some boundaries just because it hurt and got lonely. But at the end of the day, you just gotta stand to it.
So what does that look like for you? So let's say professionally.
Professionally, for me, which is going to be big, because one of the things I did make a goal to this year was to change the clientele that I actually pursued this year, to go after more high-end listings and things like that this year. That was one of my biggest goals for
Mhm.
this year. And for that, it really is just saying no, honestly. That's the biggest thing, and
Mhm.
giving other people the opportunity to
Mhm.
get some of those other listings other than the ones that I really want to go after, or
Okay.
some of those other clients. But that was very much one of my biggest goals this year, was to um, move more into, I don't want to technically say luxury listings, but the more higher end listings and clientele.
Okay. And how is that working out for a black man in real estate?
Create my own path.
Okay.
That's coming with creating my own path.
Okay.
Really, it really is coming in pretty much the same way it did for me to start my own brokerage. I had to start creating my own path.
Gotcha.
Because it's hard. They don't really want us, but
Yeah.
we got to go to the ones who actually are building those luxury houses and be
Yeah.
their friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that when you start to foster mutual respect for people, that's when
Mhm.
those boundaries are set. If someone doesn't have that mutual respect for you, they will not set that. They will cross that boundary every chance you give them. So it also sometimes comes down to a sense of emotional intelligence, right? Because sometimes people are, I mean, just say for instance, you got a homeboy that y'all been friends since kindergarten, knee high, and he never did anything with his life. Now I'm just speaking hypothetically. He never did anything with his life, and he sees you climbing the corporate ladder, and he wants to keep trying to pull you where he is, right? And you're putting the brakes on that, and now he's saying, you know what? You ain't you change, Chance, man. You change, man. You change. At what point do you say to yourself, emotionally, the emotional intelligence piece of this young man is just not there? And respect the fact that he's not willing to make that change in his life and move on.
Yeah.
At what point do you do that? Because sometimes we'll sit in those relationships and we know that, these people still pulling that, still happy about stuff y'all did in high school. Like, bro, I need you to get something else to be happy about.
Auntie, I think you got my phone tapped. I just had this conversation.
Oh
I honestly had this conversation with my cousin the other day
no.
about
Okay.
a friend that we were cool with for years, and
Okay.
I tried to help him and help him get into, before I was in real estate, when I was in dentistry, tried to
Okay.
help him get into dentistry and doing everything I can help him because he told me that's what he wanted to do. And to this day, he still ain't doing it. I just had to realize that he just wasn't gonna never get there. That's just something that he wasn't gonna do. And once the relationship became draining on me, you gotta go. Nah, when I feel like I'm doing everything in my power to help you get in a better position and you're not trying to help yourself, you gotta go. When I'm making the calls for you at the school to try to get you in when you won't even fill out the application, no,
Yeah.
I can't help you no more. I can't do it. But
I
that's
think it's
exactly what happened.
I think it's hard when you love people. Like when
Oh
you love people, you want the absolute best for them. And sometimes it's especially when you love hard, like when people say, I love hard. No, I love hard everybody who's in my surroundings. So it ain't like, oh, I'm in a relationship and I love hard. No, 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 no. If I'm in a relationship, I want the best for you. If
yeah.
if you my best friend, I want the
Mhm. The
best.
best for you.
You my sister, my brother-in-law, my brother, I want the best for you. But I can't want it harder than you do. So I had to learn that throughout the years because when people are ready, they'll let you know that they're ready. That's one thing that my mother taught me.
I
Yeah.
need the action to show me. I need their actions to show me they ready. Because
Okay.
people, I've had people tell me all the time, they ready, they ready. 2, 3 years down the road, still not ready. I have a strong entrepreneurial spirit. So if you tell
Yes.
me you want to start a business, we gonna sit down tomorrow. We gonna get it going. But, but if I'm telling you that you need to save $2,000 to get started, and you about you want to buy the new Jordans come out tomorrow, oh no,
Yeah, you ain't
it
ready.
gets a little rough. You ain't ready. You ain't ready to sit down and actually sacrifice to get there.
Yes.
And then
How
the
does that
boundary got to come
look?
on.
How does that sacrifice look? Because that's also a boundary. So making a sacrifice is a
Mhm.
boundary that you have to set for yourself. How does that look? Like literally, how does that look for you when you started your business? What did that look like?
I know when I wanted to get in, start my own brokerage, I knew I had to take a class for it, and I knew it was a hard class to go through and a hard test to go through. I literally sat down for 6 months, didn't go nowhere, didn't go out, didn't hang out. All I did was work and go to the gym, come home and study, and spent every hour that I have awake and study. I mean, I had nights I would be up till 12 o'clock at night and be back up at 5 a.m. studying and going because I needed that. I knew it was going to be something major that I wanted to do, and that sacrifice paid off. And I think for me, I look for other people to have that sacrifice when they want to do stuff, but they really don't.
Yeah,
That drive and determination to get it, it's
yeah,
either in you or it's not.
yes, yes. Okay, I ain't gonna. That's gonna be something else. I ain't gonna get into that one right there. But that's. I understand the sacrifice, right? So I understand. And I think I may have shared this with some other people. I'm actually sitting in my office, and I ain't gonna show you the whole. I ain't gonna put the camera around, but when God told me I was going back to school to get a degree, I first fought him and said, "No, I'm not.
Mm,
God, I'm not doing it." And through a lot of prayer, he assured me that I was going, right? And he told me to buy 3 frames. 1, 2, 3. And in those 3 frames, he had me to put one, Erica, associate's degree, Erica, bachelor's degree, Erica, master's degree. And I hung those frames on my wall before I had any degree,
mhm.
period. And when I got my first degree, that set it off. Because what he was showing me was I'm a visual person. So visually, I needed to see that I was going to have those degrees visually. Everybody is not like that. Some
Mhm.
people, some people they just need to however you get it, that's how you get it. But visually, I needed to see that on my wall. So every time I came in this office right here to study, those frames were staring at me. And now they're all full with
Oh yeah.
real degrees. So it was one of those things that he had to say, visually, I need you to see this all the time. So you had your vision, whether
Mhm.
it was in your mind or on a piece of paper. Visually, you saw yourself having your own brokerage,
Mhm.
but you had to set those boundaries first. So people felt neglected because Chance couldn't hang out. I know
Oh
it.
yeah.
Listen, I saw the attitudes where I couldn't go somewhere. They rolling their eyes if I got to leave early, like
Oh
all
yeah.
of that. But guess what? None of that mattered because I had a goal that I was reaching. And I said, if
Yeah.
they love me, they'll be here at the
They'll
end.
be here when it ends over.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of times. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you say something.
It's great that you say that about the picture frame. If you could see my bathroom mirror,
Okay.
my bathroom mirror is outline of sticky notes.
Okay.
And 4.5 years ago, I wrote next to realty on a sticky note 2 years before I even had it.
Mm-hmm.
My whole mirror is like that. It's all full of sticky notes of pretty much my vision, and I read them every morning.
Yeah.
Every morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's how you create the world that you want
Hmm.
before you even get it. Like I love to ask young folks, I say young folks because I'm turning a big 5-0 this year.
Oh,
But I
big
love
5-0.
the 5-0. How do you want your life to look? Like, what is your vision for your life? And it's always dumbed down to what they have. It's like,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. Not what you got right now. What the vision is. Like, what is the vision is futuristic. So I was like, what does that look like? And unfortunately, when you're from such a small town, the vision is not that big because you don't see. I mean, I think you're the only black owned real estate brokerage in Gainesville.
That's,
Are you?
I want to say three.
3? Who?
I want to say
Okay, no,
3.
we gonna name them. That's okay. We just talking about next year. We can't talk about it. So, well, you're the only one that I know of, right?
Mhm.
So, but it's one of those things that we can't see it because we don't see
We
it.
don't see it.
So, how are our kids gonna want something bigger than what we have here in this small town if they can't see anything? Period.
Yeah. You gotta let them travel. You have to travel and expose them to different things. And I don't say travel just to go to Disney World, but take them to museums. Seriously. Take them to museums. Don't take them just to Disney World.
Yeah.
Take them to different places. I love the African American History Museum in Washington.
Okay. I keep saying I'm gonna get there. I've been to DC. I don't
You
know how many times I ain't been
you
yet.
gotta go. You're gonna
Yeah.
spend a whole 2 days in there.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
it's real nice. It's
Yeah.
real nice.
Okay. Now we've talked about we haven't delved into relationships yet, setting boundaries for relationships. So we're gonna get into that. I need you to be thinking.
I'm thinking.
All right. So one of the things is emotional resistance, right? When you're setting boundaries with people in relationships, sometimes there's an emotional resistance. Oh, she's not gonna do that with me. I'm not doing that with her. Like she not, XYZ, I ain't doing it, da 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 da. And you're going to have that when you're starting to set boundaries. Now, the misconception of a boundary is people think that it's a way for you to control someone. Do you feel that way?
No. I think
Okay.
it's more so what we were talking about before, is
Okay.
teaching somebody how to treat you,
Yes.
honestly, more
Yes.
than trying to control them.
Yes. So a lot of times people see boundaries as control, especially when it's something that they used to do and you no longer want them to do that with you anymore. Right.
Mhm.
Um, I would say being the butt of someone's jokes. Like if you say, hey, listen, hey, I don't like that. Like, don't make me the butt of your jokes every time we do something or da da da. Don't. So, but then it comes like an offense when it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I mean, we were fine. Like, why are you changing that? We were cool. This, that, and the third. But no, you have to. I tell my nephews all the time, read the room. Read the
It's
room. If you're the only one laughing, then guess what? The joke ain't funny.
it ain't funny.
It's not funny.
You honestly the joke.
That's it. You the joke. Like
Yeah.
read the room. So I know that sometimes checks maturity. That's also back to emotional intelligence.
That's what I was
Like
about to say.
it is. It's back to emotional intelligence. Go ahead.
That's what I was gonna say when you were talking about the first part where when you're setting boundaries in a relationship and the other person's like, well, since you're not doing that, I'm not doing this. Somebody got to be mature in the relationship. Somebody
Yeah.
has to understand that we're trying to have a healthy relationship and healthy relationships come with boundaries.
Yes.
If it's
Absolutely.
not, then it's just a free for all.
Yeah. Listen, I told someone I ain't never been no go with the flow kind of girl. I ain't
Mm,
going with nobody flow. No, we're gonna have to set some things in order because I don't go with the flow. When you go with the flow, you don't go nowhere.
no well,
Nowhere.
no well, just
No,
stagnant.
that's it. Spinning your wheels in the dirt. Fishtailing. That's all you're
Oh
doing.
yeah.
Spinning your wheels in the dirt. So when you have, like, I've had emotional resistance from people when I start to set boundaries. And I can tell you in one instance, everyone looks to me for an answer in my family. If they call me, they want an answer.
I see
Period.
that.
Oh yeah. I call my auntie, I call my sister, I call my daughter, even my mama. I want an answer, right? So if I'm not ready to give an answer, or if I'm not ready to give an answer that they can't handle, I now say, let me think about it. That's a boundary because I need to let them know that I heard them. I used to say nothing. And when I said nothing, it created anxiety because people are used to me saying something. So if you say, hey auntie, I just want to know da 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 da, and I'll be like, okay. That creates anxiety within a person because they're used to me giving an answer. But if I say, let me think about that and get back,
How receptive are they to that when you tell them that you think about it?
that most of the time, I can tell you 99% of the time is good. I just,
Okay.
you got one or two no limit soldiers feel like they're gonna press you into something.
Like I need that answer now. Like I called you because hey, I was in the fire pit right now. I need an answer now. That'll be
But
me. What you
listen,
mean? Call me
being that
back.
being that I'm an alpha female, I know how to handle alpha females and alpha males. So
Okay.
I know how to say, okay, give me a minute. Let me think on that because I don't want to give you the wrong answer and I don't want to answer
Mm,
from my feelings in this moment of based on what you told me. So that also gives me time to pray about it, to ask God to give me the right answers. And I know you heard me say in our prayer, God give us the words like you did your prophet Jeremiah. So if
mm,
you read, now, we ain't trying to get into Bible study, but that's just in me. It just is what it is. But if you read the first book of Jeremiah in the first chapter, God is telling Jeremiah what kind of prophet he's going to be, right? And Jeremiah tells God, "Don't tell me that because I'm just a boy." Now I'm paraphrasing. You have to read it for
mm,
yourself. And he says, "Don't say that because I'm just a boy." And God says, "Don't say that you're just a boy. I will put the words in your mouth."
mm.
So sometimes when I'm getting ready to have a big meeting, when I'm getting ready to do, something that I'm unsure about, I'm a little shaky. My prayer is, God, you give me the words like you did with Prophet Jeremiah, because he put the words in Jeremiah's mouth. It didn't matter that he was a kid. Jeremiah was a kid when he told me he was going to be a prophet. It didn't
Mm.
matter. When God got you to do something, he got you to do something. It don't matter how old you are. So, but he told him, I put the words in your mouth. Don't say you just a boy. So in those instances, I'm going into prayer and asking God, okay, God, listen, I need to know what I'm supposed to say because what I feel like saying is not going to be nice. So I need you to tell me the answer that I'm supposed to give. Yeah.
Now, if you put it to me like that, I'll be okay with waiting till you call me back. Now, if you put it to me that way, let me talk to God first. I'm gonna be like, okay, then don't worry about it. I'll wait for you before I crash out. I'll wait for you to call me back.
Listen, I promise you, it don't always work out that way.
Listen,
But what they
I'll
ain't gonna
wait.
do is force me to say something that I'm not supposed to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, period. Now, don't get me wrong. I can force me to say something I'm not supposed to say, but I ain't gonna let them force
You
me
ain't
to
gonna
say
let them
something.
force you.
No, I ain't gonna let them do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, not at all. But
Okay.
I think you want to add something to that.
No, you hit it on the head for that
Oh,
one.
okay, okay. Um, Sometimes, like I just said earlier, sometimes creating a boundary creates a lack of clarity, right? Because people don't understand why you're doing what you do. How do you? I explain my way. So how do you get people to understand why you're doing what you're doing, why you're setting the boundary?
I think with also setting the boundary, the conversation need to be had on how you got to that point. If it was
Okay.
something that hurt you, you should definitely talk about that, elaborate on it. And some people actually need that. You just can't set a boundary without letting them know, especially when it's been something that's happened for years,
Mhm,
without letting them know how you got there. So,
mhm.
along with setting that boundary, a conversation should be had on how you got to that point. I
Yes.
need to. We're coming up with this because you hurt me, or we
Yes.
coming up with this because I feel embarrassed when you, like you said, you make me the butt of the joke every time we're doing something. I think
Yes.
that is that has to go along with it when
Yes.
setting the boundary as well. Not
Yes.
just saying we're gonna stop doing this now, or you just need to stop doing that.
Yes.
You need to stop doing that because you hurt me, or
Yeah.
because you hurt, yeah,
Yes.
or because you're
Now,
embarrassing me.
now I have had instances where, um, see how can I put this? That there was boundaries that need to be created, but people were too afraid to set them. So what they did is created animosity between the person.
Mm.
Now that also comes with a lack of immaturity, a lack of maturity. But how do you teach people that creating animosity or creating a, I can't think of the word I want to use,
A
offense?
wall, a wall,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. How do you not do that and be able to create the boundary.
I think also with that conversation, and that's gonna have to be a firm conversation now.
Okay.
That's not one of those conversations where you don't say exactly how you feel and you try to walk on ice. You have to really say exactly how you feel. Because I've been in that situation also where when you create a boundary, it came with animosity and walls being built instead of breaking down walls, which boundaries should do.
Mm-hmm.
Boundaries
Yes.
should bring you a little bit closer to that person and open up some things versus building a fence.
Mm-hmm.
But a strong conversation and saying exactly how you feel, I think will take care of that. And if it
Yeah.
don't, then that person might not be the person. You need to put them back on the backside of your bus, like you said earlier. 'Cause
Put it back in the back of the bus.
yeah, you can't
Yeah.
stress me out.
No, I think that I told my mama something the other day. I said, Mama, listen, let me tell you something. 2025, everybody who don't want to hear their trauma, they're not going to drag me in it. And that's how I feel. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm with you if you're trying to heal your trauma. But if you just want to drag me into your emotional roller coaster, I ain't with it.
Mm-mm.
Life is hard enough by itself. I don't have time for people to be dragging me into the emotional, unhealed relationships with people in themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm trying to get, especially at my age. You know, most of my friends are my age or older, right? When people are in your world and they should be of a certain age and you think they should be at a certain status and you still holding on to all your personal traumas from your past and your childhood, I'm gonna need you to get them fixed. Get on TikTok. It's a bunch of videos that help you get your life right. Get
Get you
it.
a
Go to
therapist.
church. Go to
Go to
church.
church.
Go somewhere. But quit dragging everybody into your emotional roller coaster because you refuse to get your traumas healed.
Yeah.
Yes, that's also setting a boundary. Like I'm
Mhm.
not my mama, my family know I'm no nonsense. You know I'm no nonsense.
100%.
I'm just saying, like life is good. Like we're here and it's still good. So why do you feel like you need to drag people into your emotional roller coasters? Like I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. I ain't fighting that. I ain't fighting that battle this year.
No.
Doing it. Um, how do you identify the red flags in relationships? When I say the red flags, I mean the violations that made you think, you know what, I got to set a boundary with them. How do you identify those?
I'm an observant person. So I'm gonna observe before I even talk. And
Okay.
I'm just gonna watch. I'm gonna watch. And if the actions begin to bother me, then I know now that's a red flag. If I
Okay.
get late night when I'm laying in the bed, I start thinking about, "Well, why did she do that? Or why did he do that?"
Okay.
Now it's time to start setting boundaries because those are red flags.
Okay.
And once the red flags start to become persistent and you see them consistently,
Mm-hmm.
then boundaries have to be set.
Mm-hmm.
Conversation have to be had. And we got to draw the line in the sand. We
Okay.
can't because they only get worse. It's just like anything else. When you don't set a boundary, it only gets worse over time.
Mm-hmm. You're right. It does. I think that when I start to see the red flag, I'm definitely a watcher as well. Like when someone asks me, well, when you dating somebody, what you do? I watch. I watch how they move. I watch how they interact with me. I watch how they say things to me. I watch everything. When I say I watch everything,
No,
I
everything.
watch everything. Listen, when it's by the time you this age and you've been through a certain amount of stuff in life, you better, yeah,
Mhm.
you better be watching everything. So when I say watch, and I'm not critical because I recognize that the older we are, the more baggage people come with, right?
Mm.
So I understand that. However, it still has to be the level of baggage that I'm willing to handle. So, because there are people that you meet in life and be like, you know what, she cool, but I ain't willing to do
But I can't deal with it.
that. I ain't got to do that. Same thing with friendships. When you meet people, I'm like I'm that auntie, like I'm that girl, like I'm that girl that people like to get around and be around and hang around. But
Mhm.
my inner circle is small. My inner circle is really small. And most of the people who are my friends, people don't even know that we're friends because my inner circle is so small. We just hang when we can. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We got busy lives. I think that even, and I'm gonna touch on this a little bit. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. All of my closest friends are married, right?
Mhm.
My two best friends, both of them are married. My other friend, she lives far away, but she's married. I don't hang out to their houses. They got husbands. I don't hang out to their
Yeah.
houses like that. I have too much respect for whatever they have going on. Period. And I feel like that is a boundary that you set. Like if they having something, yeah, I go there. That's different.
Yeah.
But to say I'm just hanging out to their house all the time, I ain't doing that. My mom didn't teach me that
Mm-mm.
way.
Mm-mm.
My mama did
Nah.
not teach me that. I didn't see my mother do it, and I don't do it. So it's one of those things. That's a level of boundary. If even one or two friends that I have from single, I'm just not a person to just be hanging at your house all the time. I got too much stuff to do. If somebody hanging at your house all the time, they ain't got nothing going on with themselves. Do
Nothing
you?
else to do.
Because I ain't got time to be hanging at your house, right? No. So I think that's a boundary that we also have to set in life. Like, these people have lives, I have a life. And then I've seen people get offended when people start having a life. Like, hey, get you a life and stop being offended because someone else has one. Like, get a life. Like, get you something going on. And that's hard sometimes coming from this small place because this small place here told us get jobs in 1 or 3 places, 1 or 4 places
My
in
God.
Gainesville, and that's it. And you said,
That's it. And work until you're
that's it.
65.
That's that's it. And don't go nowhere but to Orlando and maybe Miami on a big trip. That's it. That, that's it.
Not Miami on a big trip.
That's a big trip to go to Miami, child. That's a big one. But back to what I was saying in relationships. So I talked about conflict. I talked about having the perfect relationships. Um, let's talk about guilt for prioritizing yourself and setting boundaries. Have you ever felt that?
Oh, yes, I
Okay.
have. Um, and one of my biggest boundaries, one we talked about earlier,
Mhm.
the fact that I'm very driven when it comes to work and my aspirations in life and goals, and setting boundaries and saying we might not be going out for the next couple of weeks or months because I have a goal, I have something I have to do, and
Mhm.
feeling guilty about them. I've lost some relationships from it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, lost a relationship because of it,
Okay.
but I feel like I had to set that boundary because I knew what I had to do. I knew the
Yes.
goal that was set. And if the person didn't want to be here when the boundary was set, when it was all said and done, that was on them. I mean, I can't let down my dreams and goals because of that. So you have to set that boundary and just stick to it. It was hard.
Hmm.
It hurt, but
I had a guy once tell me once. He says, "You know what? I'm at a point in life that I just want to get to where I am in life and quit trying to get girlfriends to want to build with me. I want to get to a point in life that I have everything I want and then it don't matter what she has." And I said,
yeah.
that is a fabulous idea. I said, I wish more men thought like that. But
It
it's the
is.
truth.
It's the
It's the
truth.
truth. It's the truth. I mean, I feel like I'm so old fashioned when it comes down to men. I mean, I grew up with my father. My father took care of us. Like we didn't want for anything. So I mean, it was seeing a man be a real man and take care of his family. It's hard for me to see one that don't. Like it's
Mhm.
hard for me to see somebody who not don't get me wrong. My parents were young when they married, so of course they built things together. They were really
Mhm.
young. They had no choice. They had to build. But at this age, some things should already be built at this age.
At this age.
At this age. So it's some things that you should already have in life at this age. And when I hear, and this guy was young, he was young. very, I mean, extremely entrepreneur. Like he grabbing at everything, not a degree in sight. But when I say he make his money, he make his money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's one of those things that if you are a man's man, you understand.
Mm-hmm.
If you still out here talking about women gold diggers, then you don't understand.
But most men that are successful entrepreneurs tell you that. They
Yeah,
tell you to go stay driven and the woman will come.
yes.
Once you establish, she'll come.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think as long as you have that drive of getting to where you want to be in life,
Hmm.
and to be truthfully honest, as a man, you ain't gonna never have enough.
No.
When you get to that million, you're gonna want 4 million. When you get to
Yeah, oh
that
yeah.
4 million,
Yeah,
you're
no.
gonna want 10 million. So it ain't gonna
Yeah.
never be enough. So
Never
the
no.
key is getting to a point that you're comfortable enough that you can bring somebody in your world.
Yeah.
So I'm like, be comfortable enough, I'm set, I got this going on. I can now bring somebody in my world and be comfortable with wherever she is in life because it doesn't matter. Long as she ain't broken and no kleptomaniac, I might try.
Yeah.
She got to have some sense. She can't just come just
A,
all
a
willy
piece of sense. A little something. That's the big part. She can have a little sense.
Yeah,
Everything else I can take care of.
yeah, there you go. Financial part. But you want people to be able to do the work. Like we had to do our work. We had to do our work to get ourselves right in life. Period. We had to. It was no choice. There was no other way but for us to get it right in life. So yeah, when you understand that you got to get you right, then other people also have to get them right. Yeah. I don't know if you heard me. Did you hear me? Did you hear me? Can you hear me, Chance? All right. He having some technical difficulties now. That's okay. We're gonna keep right on going in. So we have about 8 minutes left here on the podcast tonight, but I do want to talk about when you experience heartbreak, breakup, divorce, boundaries come with those. Boundaries come with setting when you're going through heartache and hardships in relationships. You have to set boundaries. Um, I don't think Chance has been married before, but I have. And going through going through a divorce, you have to set boundaries when you're going through those things. And I think sometimes we get personal guilt when we start prioritizing self when you go through things like breakups. And you've been through a breakup before. But when you start going through breakups and things like that, and you start prioritizing yourself, why are you smiling?
Maybe one or two breakups.
Oh, just a few, just a few.
Just a
I mean,
few.
you just crossed the 4-0 line. You just crossed that line. But going through those breakups, you do have to, set boundaries. But when you start to feel guilt about the boundary that you set, what do?
After a breakup, I think for me, really, after a breakup, I get more focused and I'm more driven.
Okay.
I am. I'm very focused after a
Okay.
breakup. I dig myself into work. So
Okay.
I think that's where I actually would go. More than anything, most of my best businesses actually came after a breakup.
Okay.
Thank them. So
Well, I
some
will
of the most
honestly say
successful ones
me
came from
too.
that.
Me too. I can say
Yeah,
that too. But do you know that it's still a trauma response?
it is. I did. I've come to know that that is a trauma response.
Okay,
I've
okay.
come to
So
know that.
so just you ladies, when they saying boss up after a breakup, boss up, that is a trauma response. Literally is. It basically takes your mind off of what you're going through to put your mind on
Hmm.
something else. But what it does is um, it creates a way that you can't even think of the word. You basically take those emotions and put them on a shelf.
Mhm.
They're still there. So the hurt is still there, and they come out when you get another relationship.
100%.
Yeah. So it's easier if you deal with your emotions. And I'm not saying don't boss up. That's not what I'm saying. Hey, if it takes that for you to boss up, do it, girl. But if you sit with the emotions, however you do it, I go for prayer. That's for me. I go into prayer. I spend a lot of time with God when I'm going through those things. That's my first nature, period. But find what works for you. Find what works for you and deal with your hurt. You know, deal with your hurt. Come to grips with your part in the relationship. Because, when we good people, we always feel like I ain't doing nothing.
I ain't do nothing. It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. I
Yeah,
ain't. I'm a good person.
I was perfect. I don't know why they did that.
Listen, I come from a loving home. I ain't did nothing. No, that's not true. And I think Christian women, I think I've said this on my podcast before, Christian women sometimes are sometimes the most guilty in relationships because you feel like because you go to church or you serve or you do whatever that you're not guilty of anything and you don't cheat and you're not out doing that, you're not guilty of anything. But sometimes you lack accountability, your communication skills suck, like you don't know how to
Hmm.
communicate, you don't know how to convey someone your feelings. You and I'm not trying to just beat up on women of faith. I'm saying I've seen that because I deal with a lot of women of faith. So we have to understand that we have to have a way to be able to communicate with people in relationships. We have to understand that someone's communication style, it may not look like yours. When mine may be most people think mine is having a conversation. My conversation need to be 5 minutes. Hey,
That's it. I
I
said what I
don't
said.
need
You said
no.
what you said. What
That's
came to
it.
mind?
That's it. Like I don't need no long drawn out conversation about this, that, and the third. Da, 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 da. I'm gonna tell you what I meant. I meant what I said. If I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I don't want to hurt people, but this is what I meant. And that's just because I'm a matter of fact kind of person. So this is my personality. I've been like that since I can remember. So, but it's just this one. I don't understand anything else. So, but we have to learn that we still have to even conflict. We have to understand that everybody doesn't give conflict the same.
Yes.
Where one person may be raised in a household where they're yelling and screaming, and that's how they handle conflict. And another one may be raised in a household where it was quiet, and that's how they handle conflict. So you have to understand what somebody's conflict language is. You can't just
Mhm.
go at them all crazy, even though we feel like we can sometimes. I've been guilty of that myself, but we have to be able to understand what their conflict language is. Yeah. So um, how do you get into the healing process after you set the boundaries? Because the boundary is not the healing part. The
No.
healing part is when we've come to an agreement that the boundary is okay. So how do you get to that part, the healing part,
The
after,
healing part,
after the
it's
boundary has been set?
after all of the extra stuff that came after the boundaries, the resentment, the anger, the,
Yep.
the madness.
Yep.
It's actually, to be honest with you, once you get to the healing part, that is the most beautiful part.
Yes.
That's the best part. That's when things get a lot better for
Mhm.
both parties in hand. How do you get there? It time. It
Mhm.
it takes time because even if you set about it, doesn't mean that they're gonna be able to jump right to it the next morning. It
Yeah.
takes time and a couple reminders. Hey, I remind you that I don't like that. I don't
Yeah.
like when that happens or when you do that or
Yes.
when we have that interaction. It just takes a little bit of time and patience,
Yeah.
which I'm growing to have patience. Lord help me. That's my prayer. The Lord
Give you
give me
some patience.
patience and give me some patience.
Yes.
Give me some patience and guidance.
I can say for me, I'm so big on respect. Like I'm such an 80s girl when it comes down to respect. Respect. My mom used to say, respect is due to a dog. Like, I'm so big on respect that it's crazy.
Mhm.
Once I see that the level of respect is there, I don't care what the conflict was.
Mm.
I don't really have to discuss it if you don't want to.
Mhm.
And this is just me. Everybody is different. So I'm speaking for myself. We don't have to have no conversation. And I remember telling a family member of mine, they were talking with someone who me and them had some conflict, and they were moving past it. And I said, if they need a conversation with me, I'm here. If they don't, we ain't got to have one.
We ain't gotta have it.
I'm good. I don't have to rehash no past. I don't have to rehash everything that somebody has done to hurt me. As long as I feel like in a relationship, you have to acknowledge the things that you've done. When I
Mhm.
say a relationship, I mean a love interest relationship. He has to acknowledge what he's done. So I'm not that person like, no, you ain't got to say because see, I don't want to relive that again. So if I tell you this hurt me and this hurt my feelings, I don't want to relive that again. So we have to be in accountability,
Mhm.
right? So, but in a friendship, I don't have to rehash those things over and over again. I
No.
don't, because I know my demeanor says don't cross that right down the mouth. Period. I ain't really got to say nothing. My whole
That's
presence,
it.
don't cross that line
Don't
right
do
down
that
the
no
mouth,
more.
and we good. Yeah, we good. Yes, absolutely. Chance, you have some last words for the people?
Nah, none other than set boundaries and stick to them.
Stick to them. What I
Stick
said,
to them.
a boundary is just a suggestion when you let people cross them.
Mm, I like that. I'm gonna have to take that. Don't be mad if you see me post that in a couple days.
I will not be
I
mad.
give you credit. I give you credit.
I'm okay with it.
I give you credit.
It's just a suggestion. So we're setting boundaries. We have to stick to them. And it's not for you to control people. Just remember that you're not setting boundaries to control people. You're setting boundaries to build healthy
Healthy
relationships.
relationships.
That's it. It's not to control their movement and how they move around you and this, that, and the third. No. This is literally for us to create healthy relationships. Period. Period. Um, I think that's it. We're gonna leave them with that. We
This is a great
enjoyed you all
show.
tonight. Yes, we enjoyed you all tonight. We'll see you next month, the last Friday of next month. You know, we're back. We go on vacation during the holidays, child. We have some during the holidays. So y'all hadn't seen me in November or in December, but we back.
Mm.
So we'll see you all next month.